Hi folks, so I posted a video on Pluto in Capricorn from 2008 to 2024 earlier today. It was recorded yesterday, but I ended up posting it today. It was one of those kind of Mercury is close to the sun right now, kind of Mercury retrograde technology things with regard to getting it uploaded, but it has been uploaded. And there was one theme that comes up around Pluto that I realized I didn't cover and that I really do need to cover for the sake of any sort of semblance of completeness when we talk about Pluto. And that has to do with issues related to, I'll use the word control. And I'm going to dwell on that in a second. I do want to say I'm very clear that we have a full moon in Capricorn within 24 hours, and you may wonder why it is that I'm doing videos on Pluto and Capricorn. As I explained in the first video on Pluto and Capricorn, I'm doing it because this particular full moon makes a trine to Uranus and the North Node in Taurus, and thematically there's a link between the Taurus eclipses and the Capricorn transformation that has been going on since 2008 caused by Pluto that I just want to bring up and highlight. If anything related to this full moon tomorrow, I would just say that it's important for us to just be in awareness of, if we can, where does that Capricorn sits in our charts, which house it occupies, what that house stands for, and how that house has been transforming since 2008, and where the message of transformation are urgent if we have not been assisting in that transformation or if we have been in resistance. Now, I'm going to let you watch the last video to get caught up on that. But these videos, I'm doing these videos for a reason. They aren't irrelevant to the full moon tomorrow. With Pluto, in modern Western astrology, there's been a kind of a conflation of meanings between planets and signs and houses. So when we look at Pluto and the sign of Scorpio and the 8th house, all three entities, for lack of a different word, have started to be given the same or similar meanings. Deep, intense, financially and emotionally and sensually. I'm using that word just because I don't want this video to get stuck in sort of the censorship line. You know what I mean. The relationships, intensely entangled relationships, financial entanglements, codependency, shared resources, hidden emotional truths, etc. And whether we're talking about the sign of Scorpio, or whether we're talking about the 8th house, or whether we're talking about Pluto, themes of control in relationships. And with Pluto, often, I know that the word gaslighting is a very 2021 and 2022 word, especially a 2021 word and a few years before that. And we've certainly used a fair amount of it on this channel. With Pluto, I almost prefer the word usurpation, that kind of control, that kind of dominance, power struggles, power in a relationship, very Plutonian subject. When it comes to Pluto transits, I'm going to stick with what I said in the video yesterday, which is that overall and generally, it is the theme of this kind of unrelenting, cannot be challenged transformation that occurs in the house that Pluto is transiting. When it comes to Pluto's placement in your natal chart, in your birth chart, it could give an indication of where it is indeed there could be power struggles or issues related to usurpation related to your life. So if Pluto is in the 3rd house, it could play out with siblings or relatives or neighborhood or your immediate community. If Pluto is in the 7th house, it could play out with a marriage partner, or even the 8th house, or a business partner, or partnerships, or with regard to legalities. If Pluto is in the 6th house, it could play up with regard to subordinates or colleagues to some extent, who you serve, who serves you. So that concerns more Pluto's placement in your natal chart. But when I look at a transit, the thing that I notice most of all is transformation that is meant to be for your betterment, but can sometimes be resisted, and it has this kind of unrelenting, often kind of terrifying and stressful quality to it. when Pluto transits the fifth house, if you're a parent, no one wants their relationship to be transformed probably in quite the way that Pluto is going to transform it. If Pluto is transiting your second house of income, no one necessarily wants to deal with that kind of pressure or terror around, is it going to be rags or is it going to be riches? And, that kind of transforming quality. So that kind of really got to deal with this. I'm going to remove what I think needs to be removed, and there's nothing you can do about it. And this is really for your betterment, and transform this part of your life so that for the better, reconstruct it with a sturdy and a stronger foundation, and a foundation that is relevant to your future. Or else, especially as I mentioned yesterday, as Pluto transits the last few degrees of a sign, it can really create crises to if you're not getting with the program, that crisis can have the effect of debilitating that particular part of the chart. The purpose of the crisis may very well be to get your attention to rebuild what needs to be rebuilt on a stronger and a more current foundation. But the theme of power when it comes to Pluto, I think, is tied to the theme of personal power that we have to deal with any challenging planet, particularly with Pluto and Saturn to some extent, where it's really a question of our own self-mastery, our own tapping into our own power. And yes, we may be challenged by individuals that sit in the part of the chart where Pluto is transiting, but that kind of control issue I see more with the Pluto placement in the natal or the birth chart and less with the transit. Now, as I said, if Pluto is transiting a certain part of the chart, it could very well be that you are experiencing power struggles in that part of the chart, but it's part of a larger transition, a larger transformation, if that's the right word. And when it comes to power and control, it could simply be symptomatic of the power and control that Pluto is asking you to exercise over the house and the subject matters related to the house that Pluto is transiting. So if Pluto is transiting your first house, and it is time for greater autonomy, greater self-respect, greater setting of boundaries, you may find yourself in power struggles against a contracted partner. But it's really to spur you to develop that power within yourself. I know that's a very cheesy and a very general way of saying, but I could just tell after I finished the video yesterday that some astrology folks would be, well, Pluto, power, usurpation, power struggles. With the transits, I would just ask you to consider that whatever power struggles, power issues are going on, as cheesy as it may sound, I think it will pay to look at it through the lens of empowering yourself to be able to deal with the challenges, empowering yourself to deal with the transition. And it could be that power struggles are coming up to prompt you to do that. The real power struggles that count, I think, are really indicated, I feel, by Pluto's placement in your birth chart or your natal chart. Okay, I hope this was useful. I really didn't feel comfortable just leaving that Pluto video out there, even though it was just posted a few minutes ago, without this addendum. It's an important thing to consider. If you find any of these videos useful, you're welcome to share them, like, comment. If you feel so inclined, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click on the bell icon next to the subscribe button. When you click on it, there's a wiggly bell right on top, and it'll notify you when I do new videos. So just want to leave this with you. Thank you.